here from Does Kyle Dig It, the volleyball-focused shoe review channel where we take a look at signature and performance basketball shoes and see how they perform for the sport of volleyball. I'm your host, Coach Kyle, both a volleyball coach and a volleyball player, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Way of Wade Shadow 6s. So these are the Way of Wade Shadow 6s, one of the spin-off signature shoes from the Way of Wade brand through the Li-Ning company. And this is the pink colorway in the leather particular outsole fashion. There is another version of these shoes that also comes in more of like a mesh, more breathable, kind of outdoor friendly version of the shoe. I got these in the leather, so we're going to talk about the performance of these ones today. So let's get started by talking about the traction. Traction in these shoes was, just like always from Way of Wade, it was top tier, great performance, even on dusty courts. What I will say is that if you're planning on playing on a super dusty court, this might not be the go-to shoe for you. There are some better options. When we break it down and we get into the actual traction pattern, it's hard to describe exactly what it is. It's a very interesting kind of pattern that runs through the shoe. On this particular colorway, we've got a translucent outsole. A lot of the other colorways are more of a solid outsole. I will say that I have seen both in performance on the court, and the translucent outsole does tend to pick up a lot more dust than the regular rubber outsole. So I would say if you definitely are playing on a dusty court, or you know it's going to be more dusty than normal, at least plan on wiping a lot more, or you might want to think about going with a different pair of shoes for that particular day. Like I said, traction is still top tier, 8.5 out of 10. On dusty courts, you may have some issues, and again, with the more translucent outsole, you're probably going to have to wipe a lot more in between your sets and everything. But other than that though, traction, still really, really great, even for this shoe. This did give a nice little high-pitched squeak, if that's something you're into. Obviously, it has nothing to do with the performance of the shoe, but on this translucent colorway, it gave me a nice little squeak on the floor when I used them. Now, right now, the Way of Wade Shadow 6 is retailing for somewhere between $120 to $110, depending on which colorway you're going with, on their website. And I would say for the value, you really can't get much better than this. I know that I said that I had some mild issues with the traction. However, the performance was still above and beyond what you would get in similar offerings at this price point from companies like Nike or Adidas. That being said, the shoe is pretty excellent all the way around. Now with traction out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the cushioning setup of this shoe, because it actually is a very interesting combination of both support and bounce. For only $120, again, you are getting full-length boom foam throughout this shoe from Way of Wade. That lends really, really specifically to the cushioning setup. On the bottom here, you can see we have a decoupled outsole with a TPU plate that has more of a forked pattern running through it. That does give you a little bit more spring, but not a whole lot compared to a full carbon fiber plate and what that would be able to do for you. And again, because of this coupling, and you can see the full-length boom running through here, the heel on this particular shoe tends to sit up very high, but it's fully caged in by that outsole of the shoe. What this creates is a very interesting combination of high-end cushioning, and you can see I can just press in on the heel here, and it gives because of that boom foam, but because of that rubber caging, everything is held into the heel here, which actually translates into a little bit more springiness in the shoe. However, what this does do is it decreases court feel significantly. I would say that when wearing this shoe, I kind of felt like I was standing a little up and off the court, and I didn't have quite that connection that I like to have between my foot and the court. But what you get for that is you get a superior cushioning with a little bit of extra springiness for that jumping. I would potentially recommend this shoe to any outside right side hitters doing a lot of full jumps. You get good support and cushion here. You do sacrifice a little bit of court feel, but you feel like you're up off the ground, and you feel like you can continue to full jump at maximum for a little bit longer period of time because of the nice cushion support combined with that bounciness that's lended by the TPU plate and all this caging here in the heel. It's called Tuff Rubber, Tuff rubber, and I will say it is pretty tough, it is pretty sturdy, but it does pick up a good bit of dust. Now, Along with that caging in the heel, let's talk about lateral stability. There is not a very large outrigger counter on this shoe. However, it does protrude enough and you do get a nice lateral stoppage on this. What really helps with that is this design in the heel here. We have really firm stability, especially in this leather colorway here, of giving you good heel support so that when you're trying to come and stop on your lateral movement, that heel is really locked down. Again, that's part of what takes away from the court feel of this shoe, but you have a good confidence in being in your lateral stability. As we go in and we talk about the fit of this shoe, I would say go true to size. Unless you have really, really wide feet here in the narrow part of your foot, maybe go up half a size. However, after a break-in period, there was plenty of room in the toe box and I never felt like I was cramped in here. As we come down into the shoe, you're on this nice kind of, mesh strobe board that sits on top of that full boom cushion. I don't like to talk about the actual standard insoles that come in these shoes because I put my own special insoles in, and I think that you should too, whether it be for performance or whether it be for injury prevention. Get yourself a nice insole that you're happy with, slide it in there, you're going to feel nice and supported in this particular shoe. Now, as we continue to move up, you do, like I said, in the heel, is a good plush supportive feeling. I would have liked maybe a little bit more cushioning in here, but it is better than a lot of models, so you do feel very cushioned. And like I said, with that nice lateral caging, you are locked down in this shoe, so you're going to have nice heel support. The tongue, it's not super plush, but it's plush enough so that when you do lace the shoe down, you're not going to have any kind of rubbing across the top of your foot. And it's all kind of a single booty construction here on the sides to give you that extra kind of support and lockdown after you get the shoe on and on your foot. All right, now as we move our way on through the shoe, let's talk a little bit about the weight of this shoe. This shoe is actually pretty lightweight and surprised me a good bit. It only came in at about 11.4 ounces, which is a little bit below the average for a lot of these shoes. And even with the leather colorway, I thought that it would be maybe a little bit more heavy than the textile mesh colorway. But 11.4 ounces, it's very, very lightweight despite all that caging and all that tough rubber that runs through the entire shoe. Nice and lightweight, you feel good and you feel springy on your step. Now let's talk about one of the more controversial parts of this shoe, because I've heard people both say that they like it and they don't like it, and that is these laces here with their little bump pattern all the way across. I call these lockdown laces, and personally, I'm a fan. I like to be able to get my shoe on very snug and then make sure that I know once it's double knotted, it's not moving. The laces aren't going to come too much more loose from where they've sat in at. And what this allows you to do is that once you do lace these and cross them and you have them to a tight position, they are going to lock into that actual position in those grooves and allow for very minimal movement off of the shoe. I think that some people who actually like their shoe to come a little bit more loose after initially lacing as they play may not like this at all. Or those of you who tend to lace your shoes a little bit more loosely, you're also probably not going to like this shoe as well because of those lockdown laces. They don't allow for a lot of play or a lot of give in that shoe. Take it or leave it. I think they're pretty cool, but obviously you can always yank these out of here and lace them with something else if it really bothers you that much. I think they're pretty cool though. As far as overall shoe design is concerned, I think these look great. As you come around the shoe, you've got, the Liaoning logo on the side, a little bit of Way of Wade here in the toe box. And on this particular colorway, it's almost like a pastel pattern in these bits that are kind of blocking in some of the more softer part of the leather if you're doing any toe drags or anything across the shoe. Overall, I mean, the pink colorway is just gorgeous. There's a few other options online that also look pretty well. And I think that there's probably going to be a few more colorways that come out in this shoe before they're officially done with it. You can still get the previous edition of this, the Shadow 5, online right now. I think it's on sale for $100 on Way of Wade as well. Not a bad shoe, wasn't my favorite. I definitely prefer the Shadow 6 currently. That being said, traction. 8.5 out of 10. Not great on dusty courts. Definitely going to be wiping more if you're using the translucent outsole. Stability and lockdown, definitely 9.5 out of 10. Great shoe. Good heel support. As far as overall materials, in the leather colorway, I definitely recommend, especially since you're getting it at a budget. The mesh colorway, it's not quite as good and you're not going to get as much support in that shoe. But for this model, that's what I'm going to go ahead and rate it on. Again, You want to go true to size. Otherwise, this shoe is pretty fantastic across the board. I've had it in my rotation now for about 3 to 4 weeks. I've been very, very happy with the performance of it. However, as a setter, I need a little bit more court feel than what this shoe provides to me. And I have shoes that give me as good of a heel lockdown that this shoe does, with even more comfort and support while not sacrificing as much of that court feel. So, I will probably not wear this shoe as much going forward, but it will stay in my rotation, especially if I'm planning on playing right side or doing any hitting a lot that day. So I would say that yes, Kyle does dig this shoe, and for only $120, $110, not a bad option if you're planning on trying to get something in the budget range. Otherwise, down in the comments, let me know what other shoes that you'd like to see me review, especially if there's any upcoming new releases getting ready to come out as we head into the new year that you're really looking forward to. Let me know down in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you like this type of content. This is Coach Kyle signing off from Does Kyle Dig It?